Hey crew, what's up?
This is the Train Together podcast, a guided weights workout. I'm Lana Parks.
And I'm Jack Faulkner.
We're best mates, parents, and experienced personal trainers based in Byron Bay, Australia.
The Train Together podcast is here to help you feel good, move well, and do more of the stuff you love. We nail the basics with simple and sustainable training that complements your life instead of taking over it.
No matter where you're at with your training journey, we will give you everything you need to be confident with your training and get strong for life.
With us in your ears, you'll know what to do, when to do it, and how to lift properly.
We're here to give you high quality guidance and do all of the hard work so you can just show up, put your headphones in, and train hard.
But don't worry, there'll be plenty of banter, shits and giggles along the way.
The Train Together podcast.
It's a workout in your ears.
Let's go! We would like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we are recording today, the Arakwal people of the Bundjalung Nation. We would also like to pay our respects to elders past and present.
You're listening to the Train Together podcast with Lana Parks and Jack Faulkner.
Hey crew, what's up? This is the Train Together podcast. We are into episode 5.
5 episodes of us just talking in your ears, you lucky people.
A bit of shit chat.
I know, a bit of that, a bit of knowledge, a few truth bombs there for you guys too. And this episode is going to be why weights. Why should you be lifting weights, Lana?
Oh, look, we're going to get into that later, aren't we? I'm not going to give it all away now, yeah? Basically, we are going to chat today about why you should be prioritizing lifting weights. You've heard us harp on about it before, right? Who else has talked about it before?
A million people. I've probably heard doctors, people on the news, all over social media.
Yeah,
my nan saying, should I be lifting weights? You know, and especially as people get older, they hear about it even more because it is that safety net for them and that medicine that people are prescribing. So before we dive into the ins and outs on why you should be lifting weights and clear a few things up for you, Lance, it's all shits and giggles until someone giggles and shits. What have you got for us?
All right, I'm going to kick things off with my giggle of the week. It was my birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And that's it. It was my birthday yesterday.
Done. That's all I need to say. Why was it good?
No, it was great. I had low expectations. I'm into my 30s now, so...
Dirty 30s.
Yeah, that's it. Apparently it's all downhill from here. Is that...
Only uphill, I reckon.
Who knows? But I had low expectations for the day. I was just like, whatever, it's a Tuesday, another day. I had some work I had to do, but I had a really nice day. I had time to hang out with some mates, Jack. I got to surf in. I had lunch with mum and dad because they're here visiting, and it was just a great day. So no complaints there.
Do we want to rain on your parade? Do you want to bring a shit up? Surely it's a mellow one.
Yeah, my shit is a chill one. It was that, not that I trained yesterday, that was a good part of the day, but we had some Bulgarian split squats and...
Look at the, so Lana's saying that, look at my shit on there.
Oh, no way! Can we do the same here?
Yeah, the same. You can carry on now.
So we did Bulgarian split squats yesterday when we trained together. And my glutes are freaking sore right now. So I mean, it's a good thing, but you know, just sitting here now, I'm like, ooh, she's a bit tender.
If you hear the chair squeak, it's because we're a bit
We're
sore.
just shuffling around.
Yeah.
Okay, fire away.
Oh, my
Continue
giggle
on
is
with the shit first.
With the shit first
Yeah.
that my legs are fucking sore too. All right, Bulgies, Bulgarian shit squats as Lana likes to call them.
Yes,
yeah, they really do get you, and they're a love-hate relationship. They get my legs jacked. They feel amazing, but they hurt like hell, and I want to die when I'm on that second leg, last few reps every single time. So it is a shit, but at the same time, I really love them too. And then my giggle for last week is just that this week is that we're just into a new program, and crew nailed the last program. Lots and lots of strong people, and it's really nice just to see everybody thriving and coming to this week wanting to still go, but we've taken them back a nudge, and we are cruising into our new program, refining form. Everybody's moving really well and got really good intentions to lift well, get strong for the rest of the program. So I'm stoked with it.
Yeah, that's it. I love it. Well, I feel like that kind of segues into what our chat is about today. That's what our crew do. They lift weights, right? They train hard.
Do they exercise or do they train?
No, well, that's what I was going to say. What is the difference? Training, exercise, lifting weights, resistance training, strength training. What's the difference? What is it? What?
You're listening to the Train Together podcast with Lana and Jack Faulkner. So for today, when we say the words lifting weights, we mean resistance training and strength training. We're going to basket them into the same thing because they're normally following similar principles, okay? When you go into the finer details, specific strength training and hypertrophy/muscle gain training are different things, but you get a bit of both with each, so we're going to basket them together for now. And then when we talk about lifting weights, we say we are going to be training versus exercising. So the difference between training and exercising for us is that when you train, you are logging what you are doing. You're going in there with the intent to lift more or do more reps or with better form than what you did last week. And if you're going into exercise, you're going in to just move, feel a little bit better, get your heart rate up, jump around the room, or just do something without the intent that training has. So that training does have a program element, and then you're looking to progressively overload through that program.
Spot on. That's it. So resistance training or lifting weights, exactly what it is, it's moving against an external force, right? So
simply put,
it can be a weight, a resistance band, body weight can be in there. We can make movements harder with body weight. But essentially, resisting against an external force.
Yeah, and when you say body weight, those things can be used when you're away or when you're starting your journey. But there's going to be a point when doing 10 squats to a chair is going to be too easy for you. So you're going to need an external force or an external weight that is going to make it harder for you. And that's why we like lifting weights, because it's measurable, it's really accessible for most people anyway, and it really lets us progress and add that force quite easily. When we talk about the fact that you should be lifting weights, we don't mean you have to get rid of every other exercise form. The combination of weights with other forms of exercise like yoga, Pilates, running, swimming, surfing, dancing, those things are really, really going to be good. But this is your bread and butter, the things that you start your week with and you pencil in first and then you fill around it. So this lets you do more of those other things without getting injured, so you can do them for longer, do them better, and you can probably enjoy them a little bit more too.
Like I've said before, it's like brushing your teeth.
That's it. We'll come back to that a couple of times.
We should all be doing it. So there's going to be 4 kind of main reasons that we believe personally that you should be prioritizing lifting weight. Those 4 main reasons we will rattle off now and then get into a bit of depth. So first things first, we're going to have the physical, then the mental, the aesthetic, and then the long-term benefits, okay? So let's just get straight into the physical.
Yeah, and I would say this isn't in any particular order.
No.
Depending on who you are, where you're at in your age, life, whatever you're doing right now, these might take different priority levels for you, and that is totally fine. So these are not in a particular order. Whatever works best for you and what you need right now, take what you need from this, okay? So physically, lifting weights, we love because it lets you move better and do more of the stuff you love, all right? We say it a lot, and it's kind of our whole motto, that whole thing we talk about, getting strong for life so we can do those things.
Yeah, I feel like this is top of the list for us because that's basically what we promote or strive for in our gym and our training with our crew, right? That it's, the aesthetic benefits, everything else is part of it, but for us, it's more about just moving better, getting stronger, feeling better, and then the rest come along with it, right?
And lifting weights, when we train in our sessions, we try to lift through a full range of motion where we can, okay? So that's squatting into a deep squat, that's hinging into a deep stretch in the hamstrings, it's going into a deep chest fly or a low shoulder press. And that in itself is a form of mobility work, which helps you squat down to pick your groceries up, pick up that heavy plant pot to move it, put your shopping on the top shelf, those things. And it all comes into life, and we're just doing it in a controlled method so that when you go and you need to use that force and control that force, that external force, then you can.
So functional, right?
Exactly.
But yeah.
Functional training.
But yeah, like there's a plethora of benefits physically, right? Oh, Here we
Here we
go.
go.
Plethora. Like your balance increases, yeah, your stability, flexibility, like you said, the mobility, and just the overall feeling freaking strong as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is obviously a really nice thing, to feel strong and feel like you're not being limited in your body to do the stuff that you want to do. So if you step into the weight room at the start of your weightlifting journey, you're gonna be shit. If you're really good, that's totally fine, all right? Hats off to you, you're the 0.5%. But the first time you go and lift weights, you're gonna be like, am I doing this right? Can somebody help me? Should I be lifting that weight? Should I use a squat rack? Should I use a cable? Should I do, what is this thing? How do I lift this up and down?
It's like a rite of passage you have to go through.
Exactly. And it's really nice to have people like us to help you through it. And the Train Together podcast will do that. We can be the workout in your ears, but you're going to make a few mistakes. You're not going to be amazing at the start, but it's something that every single person we believe should be doing.
Yes, 100%. Nice. Tick that off.
Tick it off physically. Boom. You're listening to the Train Together podcast with Lana Parks and Jack Faulkner.
Mentally.
You want to roll into it?
Yeah, let's roll into it. So obviously we all know movement, exercising is great for increasing our mental health. And this day and age, talking about your mental health is a big thing. And lifting weights is, again, just going to help with that, okay? So when it comes to lifting weights in general, it's the same as exercising. You're going to help boost that mood, decrease stress, help with your stress management, can decrease anxiety, all those good things. It's not going to magically make it disappear, but it's definitely going to help day to day in your life.
Exactly. And I think that when you look at the internal elements of the mental approach and why it is good for us, when you lift weights, you get endorphins released, okay? So you come in here, you start exercising, your body likes that, all right? You get endorphins released and you get a bit of a dopamine hit, okay? So you get that spike, that elevated response that your body loves from lifting weights, and it is like, you're doing this for me, you're doing something good, here's a reward for it, you're feeling a little bit better. But it's not just that true chemical response, it's that social element. When you're in a gym and you've got a couple of people that you see and you cross over with at the same time every day, and you say, oh, how are you going? And then you get to, oh, how are your kids? Oh, I saw you out the other day. Did you have a good night? Those things as well, it becomes greater. And belonging to something and being part of the movement of people that are strong and healthy and doing the things for them so they can do more of what they love and live a better life, it's really, really nice to be part of that too. So mentally, I think that's a really great part of it too.
Yeah, I agree. And we see that every day with people walking into the gym from both aspects. When they come in maybe a little bit slow, a little bit sluggish, you get into the warm-up, bodies start moving, you might not feel, like the hardest part is getting to the gym, right?
Yep.
Then once you're through the door, you get moving, you just slowly see people's moods increase. And then they're walking out on bloody cloud 9, right?
Yeah.
And they tell us as well how much it makes an impact on their life, like how much happier they're feeling. And then also, as you were saying, the community vibe, we see our crew interact,
Go on the light walks together.
Yeah,
like
they meet up outside, they go for their coffees, all that. So it's a really nice little gym culture vibe.
Yeah, and people sometimes see that as a negative point. They are, okay, these people are being near me, or they are judging me and looking at me. They probably just want to be your mate, you know? Or
Yeah. Or like the gym culture, you mean?
Yeah.
A lot of the time in the gym, crew are too busy looking at themselves for one in the mirror to worry about what you're doing. So I get that can be a stress going into a gym like that, but yeah, that's something you just got to try and push through and realize that everyone's too busy worrying about themselves. But also, if you ask probably the scariest looking guy in the gym, he's going to be the nicest guy.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, mate, how do I actually use this machine? He'll go, oh, yeah, here you go. Pause for 2 seconds. He's probably in 3 minutes of rest time anyway, so he'll probably rather use that than scrolling through his phone, which is really, really good. And so those two things combined, the physical and the mental, I think that's enough to say, all right, I should be lifting weights.
Why wouldn't you be? Yeah.
And there's obviously times where in our life where it's going to be hard to fit lifting weights into our life, but those reasons alone should be a reason to start prioritizing it. And you can start at home, okay? You can start with your body weight. You can start with just a set of bands with one set of dumbbells, and you can progress slowly through that. And if you need a way to do that, then you can look us up. You can use the Train Together podcast, or you can do whatever you want. Just start moving now, and you will find that hunger. You'll look for that progress, and then you'll start getting these rewards.
It's addictive.
Yeah, that you get from, and you'll get in your flow, and it's an amazing place to be once you start feeling that in the body. And I think that leads nicely into the aesthetic part of it, because obviously lifting weights, we're doing it for ourselves too.
Yeah, 100%. Like, the physical and the mental aspect are obviously amazing, but then there's always constantly that aesthetic reason, right? People want to look more toned, depending on who you are, what your goal is. People want to lose body fat, which is an okay goal to have. People want to build muscle, right? So there's that element of it as well, and lifting weights is going to be able to help you achieve those aesthetic goals, whatever they may be.
I know, and I straight away, I speak, and I say it quite a bit, that when I start lifting weights and getting into my program, like I've said before, and I'll say it again, I was a bit slack this year, you know, in the last 12 months. There's reasons for it, but my mental health, whenever I've trained, has been great. And then as soon as I do start to train, I feel better about myself. I feel more confident. I start to see a little bit of definition down the side. I start to see a vein pop up in my arm. And then my confidence comes through. I feel better. I sleep a little bit better. I move a bit better. I float through the room, you know?
I feel like they kind of pair into each other well. So when you are consistently training and lifting weights, even if you aesthetically haven't had a body composition change, when you look at yourself in the mirror, you just feel better, right? You might not have actually had an aesthetic change, but
you feel it.
Yeah,
like
you mentally just feel better because you're feeling stronger.
Body,
yes,
that
exactly.
sense of accomplishment. You're a bit proud because you're
the
finding
tightness
the
in the body,
routine.
the pump.
Yeah, exactly. And you finish a workout and you're like, oh, I can see these. And the next day you're like, hey, did I even work out yesterday? And that's part of the process. And I think that's that addiction of it. And I want to just go back to the combination of the physicality and the mental aspect, and then the aesthetic, and all those things that you are progressing with and you're getting those outcomes lead back into the crux of what we need in our life. And it helps you sleep a little bit better, you know, because if you've got that fix in your brain, you've moved well, you fatigued the body a tiny bit, then you can sleep often better for most people. Sometimes your legs are super sore because you haven't done a split squat in 10 years, and then you do it, you're like, oh, okay, that's not so good. But for the best part, it helps.
And if you don't have a couple of kids at home who are waking
yeah,
up
I
in the
know.
middle
Who would
of the
have
night.
those? No, see you later. Aaron, can you just get up with them for 3 nights? My legs are a bit sore. So I think that increased sleep element is really good. But then on the basis of that, you increase muscle mass from those elements and from lifting weights consistently helps you increase your metabolism, you know? So you're moving, your body's working well, it's actually firing a little bit faster and burning more calories.
Right, which can just overall help with that weight management as well, right?
Yeah. So I kind of like went back a little bit there just because I was like, you know what, that clicked into my brain. And look, we go backwards and forwards a little bit. You know us. We kind of skip to here and like, actually, can we go back because I just missed that? I've had a good idea now.
We've got notes, but then our brains start ticking off as well. And we're like, wait, this, that.
Should have said this. I didn't read that word.
Yeah.
We're not perfect.
The aesthetics as well. So lifting weights is going to help you to build muscle or tone. Should we jump into that? Should we chat about what is tone?
What is tone? Is tone even a word? Do we aim for tone? What is the definition?
Yes, I think you can use, there's that whole thing of tone isn't a thing, and I get that, but being toned is a word that gets used a lot and people relate to. So I think it's okay to use. But basically what being toned is having muscle visible, right?
Yeah, and then showing it.
Yeah, and it's going to be, it's basically your muscle mass and your body fat being at, I guess, opposing levels, right? So having more muscle than body fat, So essentially, basically if you've got more body fat, the muscle's not overly going to pop through.
My brain goes into a deeper level. do you include the fat around the organs? Like the visceral fat, I'm nitpicking and being really annoying, but that's why I rolled the eye and had to think about it, was because I was thinking, I don't know those numbers. Should I know those numbers? Does it actually add up? Like, does the calculation work?
This is very basic chat though, like, but you could have a low body fat percentage, but then low muscle. So it's not just about having low body fat,
yeah,
right?
You don't want to be skinny lean. You want to have some muscle to show.
Yeah, but and that's just for the movement element as well, and of feeling strong, and back to that whole performance and physical situation.
Yeah, that situation is really important, and being able to have some muscle mass, show it. It goes back to the aesthetic approach of just feeling good about what you're doing and how you're looking as well, and getting some visual feedback. Yes, I'm doing the right thing, okay? And that doesn't come just from lifting weights. You've got to eat well too, okay? So when I was gonna talk about lifting weights and why we should lift weights, I kind of normally skip all that stuff we just talked about, okay? I feel like that is not a given, but it's understood. People have their own intentions and their own reason for doing it. And if none of those reasons apply to you, do it for this reason that's coming next, okay? Long term, the results from lifting weights far outweigh anything else you can do for yourself, okay? So this is the medicine that is going to help you do more of what you love for longer. You're going to be the person that is walking around, jumping around, playing with their grandkids, whilst other people the same age as you are in the old people's home. Okay, so that's saying...
Yeah, a bit ruthless, but
I know,
100%.
But and I see it.
Yeah,
you see it on the street, and I'm like, this guy looks like he's 80, but he's 60. And because he stopped moving. So I love the saying that you'd rather be the oldest person in the weights room than the youngest person in the old people's home. If you don't want to be the youngest person in the old people's home, then lift your damn weights, okay?
Yeah, that's it. I totally agree. Love that, yes.
You're listening to the Train Together podcast with Lana Parks and Jack Faulkner.
Basically, we were talking about that longevity and quality of life. Yeah, we want to live a long, fulfilling life, right?
We can't guarantee that a car's not going to hit you tomorrow, but if you're jacked, it might put a dent in the car. So there's always the option. It might help you out.
Right, yeah. So as well with that, when we're talking those long-term goals, we are improving our cardiovascular health as well. All right, that is a big thing. And as you get older, they're all the things you're thinking about. Yeah, those increased risks of falls, totally. Which brings us, I guess, to the two main reasons we want to talk about. Yes, is sarcopenia and osteoporosis. So, sarcopenia is the degeneration of muscle mass, and osteoporosis is the reduced bone density.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
Tell us more.
So, sarcopenia, it's going to be two rates for us. So, if you start to lose muscle mass, which you do normally past 30.
Not
so
if you, when
you start to lose muscle mass.
Happen.
So 30 onwards is when you'll start pretty much. Some people a little bit later, but normally that's when it starts to happen. And the atrophy, so the losing of muscle, is something that you can counteract with lifting weights, but you need to be lifting consistently so that you don't lose that muscle, because once you do, it's harder to get back, okay? So in your 30s and 40s, it's minimal, probably like 0.5% a year, like not even really that high. And it's just going to be small amounts. But once you clock 50, that's when it is definitely like a minimum of 0.5% a year of your muscle mass, up to like 2%. And then once you clock your 70s, it's just down. So you really have to stay on top of it and keep lifting.
Yeah,
so
and you want to set that, sorry, I just jumped in there, but you want to set that solid foundation, right? So when you do reach that point, you've got more muscle mass as so yeah, sorry, I just had to jump in.
No, that's cool, because that's exactly my next point was going to be that you have to start now. Yeah. And there is no time.
It's not too late to start. I was just jumping it. I was like, just.
Mate, trust me, you know me. I've got this.
Sorry,
but
I'll let
also
you talk.
you've got
I'll
it
let
too.
you talk.
You can jump in and it's fine. But it is the point that you don't need to start yesterday. You can't start yesterday.
Yeah.
It is never too late to start, and whether you can't even get off the floor or you can't sit down in a chair and then stand up without somebody helping you, or you're just getting to the point where actually I'm getting a little bit slower. I can't actually carry 4 bags of shopping and I have to do a couple trips to the car, you know.
Fuck
that ego's starting to get a little tap.
One track always.
Now's the time. So that is the sarcopenia element of it, okay? So that muscle degeneration, and as it increases past 30 and then 50 and then 70, there's key markers where it really progresses. And I think I said that, but I'll say it again just in case, is that you will lose muscle strength faster than you will lose muscle mass. So you might still have a bit of muscle there, but you'll lose your strength quicker than what you'll lose the actual size. So you might think, oh yeah, I got a bit there and stuff, but they are going to be getting weaker as you go through it.
Yeah.
And the next point, and that deeper dive into osteoporosis, which is also called brittle bones, is where the bone density decreases, and weight training can increase that bone density because you're not just putting force across your muscle, okay, across that muscle and creating tension across the joint as well, but you are putting tension on the bones. So they are stressing and they are reacting to that force and they're getting stronger too. So if you can maintain that bone density as you get a bit older, when you have that slip or that fall, or you catch your arm on something, or you do something unexpected, you are less likely to injure yourself, break a bone. Yeah, those things are really, really important. Less time in the hospital, more time on your feet, more time actually resisting gravity and weight. It means that you're going to go downhill slowly instead of fast.
We're all going downhill.
At some point.
We're all going to die.
Yeah, look, and like we said, it's going to happen at some point. Lift weights, be strong, look good whilst you're here.
Yeah, and the occasional beer or two as well along the way, because we're all going to die anyway.
Life's for living, Barry.
So fuck lifting weights, just live a good life.
Why? Lana Parks.
No, we'll take that bit out, all right? So, look, they're the main 4 reasons. We have obviously just gone through that quite briefly. There's so much more to it, I guess, but hopefully that gives you a decent understanding of the 4 main reasons that we believe you should be lifting and prioritizing lifting weights, okay? So it was those physical, mental, aesthetic, and probably most importantly, the long-term benefits.
You're listening to the Train Together podcast with Lana Parks and Jack Faulkner.
All right, so basically, if we haven't convinced you that you need to be lifting weights by now, then see you later.
Gotcha. Out of here.
Yeah, get out of here. We'll see you when we're driving past the old people's home. Or I shouldn't say driving past, when we're walking past.
When we're pushing the grandkids past and you're there saying, oh, I should have listened to you.
But anyway, if you are keen to learn more and know more about what a weight session looks like, what it is, how you can get into it, tell us more.
So, weight training on a very low level is basically lifting those weights. We spoke about it earlier, okay? We gave you the overall look at what it is, but what does a session actually look like, and how many exercises should you have in a session? How many times a week should you train? So we're just going to run through that really quickly, and this is what we advocate for, and this is what we try to achieve in our lives. Some weeks we don't get it, some weeks we overachieve, and that's totally fine to do as well. And what do you need to do to maintain your muscle mass? Okay, so we'll try and cover all those points there, and hopefully you can go away from this with an idea of what you should be doing, and with a new subscription to the Train Together podcast.
These are the kind of things as well we think you should be searching for when looking for a program, right? And surprise, surprise, if you haven't found it yet, well...
We've got it.
We've got it.
We've got the gift, people.
Yeah.
We've got what you need.
Basically, if you're stepping foot into the gym for a weight session, give us a roundabout what it's going to look like. So
a weight session for me always used to be 4 to 8 exercises. Sometimes it's 3 now. If I have 20 minutes, I'm doing a superset, push-pull, and then legs, you know, or I'm doing legs, then push-pull. So it can be express, it can be quick, but on a whole, normally it's 4 to 8 exercises. Sometimes they're single exercises, and sometimes they are in supersets or trisets. So 2 exercises you do back to back, or 3 exercises you do back to back and then take your rest. And they are composed of compound and isolation movements. So compound movements are multi-joint movements, so you're moving more than one joint at a time through a nice big range of motion. And then an isolation movement is normally just one joint moving to work a specific muscle. Okay, so in the compound, multiple joints and multiple muscles. Isolation, one joint, one group of muscles, specific muscle. You know, that's on the very, very low end of it. So we like to use a combination of those exercises over 2 to 3 workouts a week to get a nice frequency. So ideally between 6 and 12 sets across your muscle groups. So each muscle group we're aiming for that. Some need more, some need less. Some muscles work in certain exercises, so that ticks off sets for them as you work through it anyway.
So then when we're getting into the exercises, I think something and a big difference with lifting weights or weight training, whatever you want to call it, is the rest time. I think that's a massive
Really important
point that is a point of difference to other types of training. So if you're going into a class or just into the gym even by yourself, a class a lot of the time they're going to be trying to squeeze as much in as possible. So if you find you are doing a certain amount of reps and then you're only having, say, 15, 20 seconds rest before you have to go again, I personally, I think would agree, wouldn't call it proper weights training.
Are you going to be able to match what you just did before?
Yeah.
Okay, or beat it? And yes, you are going to be able to if you're exercising and your previous set wasn't challenging enough. So when we do these workouts, the guide of whether you're going to be increasing your strength and working enough to build muscle mass or strength, we need to be between 4 or 5 reps and 30 reps, okay? So in each of our sets, we need between 5 and 30 reps, and we need to have 5 or less reps in the tank. So when you finish your set, you need to ask yourself, how hard was that? How many more could I do? And if you say, I could do more than 5 more, you're wasting your time. All right? Not if you're... So I say it blankly like that because you could be improving your form, okay? You could be taking it slow. You could be feeling a little bit run down. But if your main goal is to be progressing and building strength and muscle, then you need to be within 5 reps of failure, okay? If you are 6, 7, 8, 9 reps from failure, A, it may be a warm-up set, or B, you are using probably junk volume, okay? So you're working pretty hard, you're fatiguing yourself a little bit, but you could have just done it a lot easier to get the same outcome. You're not going to be getting the results you actually want because you aren't close enough to failure.
Right. Yeah. So be able to exert yourself that much in each set, basically we need to have that rest in between sets and the time for your muscle to recover and basically get enough fuel back into the tank to go again at that max effort where you're reaching a point of 5 or less reps in the tank. So if you feel like you're getting into resistance training, you've done a session or 2 and you're like, what the fuck is all this rest? Trust the process there, okay? If you're feeling like you get a minute into your rest, and we're talking rests, you should be at least, I would say, a minute and a half rest up to 2.5, 3 minutes, right? Depending on the exercise, right? Isolation exercises and whatnot, you could probably have a little less, or if you're doing supersets, in between, you can have that little less, right?
So I will say that sometimes you use 60 seconds, and that's when I've had a superset, like you said, and one muscle group has been resting whilst the other is working, and the only thing that's going to be limiting me is my cardio. Okay, so I'm a little bit puffed in between, and I can have a look. Did I drop off significantly from the last set? Yes, I probably didn't have enough rest, or I was feeling under the weather, or something like that.
Yeah.
So you have to take into account those factors.
Yeah. And I think where I was going there as well was saying, if you get to the point where a minute has been in your rest and you feel like ready to go again, maybe it's time to look at how hard you were actually working, because you potentially were not working hard enough. You might have finished and gone, yeah, I only had 3 reps in the tank, and then a minute passes by, 30 seconds passes by, and you're like, I want to go again, I'm good to go again. I would be questioning that, right? If you're ready to go again that soon, I call bullshit.
Yeah,
You're not
yeah.
working hard enough.
You're lying to
right?
us, basically.
So that's something you learn to love, I think. Initially, people come in going, they twiddle their thumbs in the rest going, what is this? Why am I wasting so much time? It's not wasting time. We're recovering. Have a scroll on your phone.
No, don't. Hey,
fill in
back it up.
your
First
data.
thing you do,
I know we're going to
data.
fill in. We're going to fill in what weight we lifted. We're going to fill in how many reps we did. We're going to fill in our reps in reserve, any comments, any cues, all of that stuff. But I find if people are new to it, they're going, this rest is weird. By the end of the program, they're like, give me more rest.
Yeah.
They're begging
Yeah.
for more. So
yeah, I think that's just something you'll get used to. Used to taking the rest,
It's
use
different.
that time. And some people can sit and have a scroll on their rest time. I really try not to, because mentally, I just switch off.
Yeah.
If I have a scroll and I get caught in it, I probably miss the buzzer to go again. I'm rushing to do my set. It's eating into my next rest time. And then I'm like doing a shit rep because my form's a little bit off. So
unless you're checking your form.
taking a video to send it for a form review or something like that, then that's
Train
totally
Together
fine.
podcast.
Exactly. And during those workouts, you can categorize your lifts into a couple of main groups, and then we will prioritize those depending on your needs analysis, so your goals, what you need to get out of your workouts or what you want to get out of your workouts. So when you start training, there's things that you actually need. So you are weak in a certain area, you can't perform a certain lift or a certain movement. You need to focus on the muscles that let you do that. And then once you kind of got that base there, then you can go to what you want. I want a juicier back. I want a bigger peach. You know, I want bigger arms. Those things you can start to tick off and have a specific focus. And to get you that baseline and get you slightly into that point of getting bigger and better muscles in the area that you want, we're not going to get you bulky, just a bit stronger and looking a bit leaner. But we can go to full body weight training. Okay, so full body weight training covers the whole body. Every single session, you work all the muscles, and then you're not doing a whole day on one body part and being ridiculously sore the next day and not being able to recover for a week before training them again. So on those days, we have different categories, and for Lana, she will try and have multiple legs in a session. For me, I'll have multiple push in a session. And normally it's that male-female dynamic. And if my legs are feeling a little bit weak, I will lean towards the double leg side of things. And I'm sure there's some days where you might lean towards the double upper body, right?
Yeah, totally. Which I guess that chat of the programming, the split, what you're going to do, when we talk about this, I think we're generalizing and speaking a bit more gen pop, right? And the everyday person who 2 to 3 sessions a week is enough, or 3 sessions ideally,
The
is
sweet spot.
enough to get some good gains, get the benefits of lifting weights, right? So obviously if you want to train more and if you have the time in your week, you can play around with your split a little bit, but for a lot of people, 3 sessions a week is the sweet spot in our opinion. I think it's enough, and then you do all the other stuff you want as well. You're not setting yourself up saying, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week, and then you only go 3 days, which is still amazing, and then go, I only went 3 days, I didn't get there 5 days, right?
Yeah.
And the full body allows you, even if you do, because we're busy, if you miss a day, it doesn't mean you've missed a full day of legs, right? And then you have to come back.
In the week.
Well, yeah, and you've already done 2 full body weight sessions where you've hit those muscle groups throughout the week. That's why I like it.
And the reason for having those 2 to 3 workouts that are really quite challenging as we get through the program is because you can have 24, 48 hours in between your sessions. And even though your muscles might have recovered, some of them ready to go again as well, and you could probably work them again, your nervous system is probably pretty fried too. So there's 2 elements of it, yeah? It's the muscles and how they're feeling, and then your actual nervous system that is like, I need to make sure that I can go again, and I need to be able to fire on all cylinders to control myself under a really heavy load so that I don't get injured again. And that starts with early in your weightlifting process where you are feeling really fatigued and really tired in between sessions because you're like, oh my God, what is going on? It's not just the lifting, it's actually like your brain processing everything, how to do it properly without getting injured. You know, all those neurons firing and they are working overtime and you're not used to it, okay? It's like anything, you get better with it over time.
Yeah. That makes me think of your first session when you're coming into lifting weights. don't overthink how hard you're working. Yes, we do talk about getting to that point of the 5 reps in reserve, but a lot of the time when someone is first stepping foot into the gym, I tell them it's going to be more of a mental workout right now, because you are going to learn how to do these movement patterns, and you're going to feel awkward, and you're going to be thinking about a million things at a time. You're going to be trying to count your reps on top of that. You know, there's so much to it, and there's so much to learn, but it's a process. It's a journey. You know, we're in it for the long run. We're in it for the long range. We're not you're not there for an 8-week program and then you're good to go. This is about fitting it into your life, making it part of your life, brushing your teeth. Right?
Week in, week out, baby. That's why we have week 1 of the program, to refine that form, tweak, get a little bit better, and then you can build and build and build. And if it's your first program, you know, just work on the form. You can always build into it, and that's totally fine. And wherever you're at in your journey, the Train Together podcast is here for you, and we will be there along your way to give you all the tips you need. You're listening to the Train Together podcast with Lana Parks and Jack Faulkner.
Before we go, let's just bust a couple of quick myths. This is pretty much going to be yes and no kind of vibes, and maybe try and, like, within one sentence, we'll try and condense it. All right. So, if Jack, you wake up the next day after a workout and you're not sore, does that mean that you throw that workout out the window? It was no good. See
Probably
you later.
a total waste of time. Probably shouldn't have done. I'm joking, guys. Literally, so, like, soreness does not mean that you did a really good workout. Okay, so look, sometimes soreness is just part of it. Delayed onset muscle soreness is totally fine, and it's something that a lot of people will get, especially when they first start working out or they first start doing a new program with exercises they haven't done recently. Your muscles are not used to that range of motion, used to doing what you've just done, so they come in and have torn all those muscle fibers apart, and they're saying, all right, okay, I need to recover, and they're recovering and they're a little bit sore, and that is fine to have. But when you're getting into your program, your form is good and you get a really good amount of volume, and you kind of maybe do some higher reps where you're not so stressful on those muscles, you might not feel sore at all. You could probably feel like you could train the next day, you know?
Yeah.
Or definitely within 48 hours. So up to 48 hours, 2-3 days of soreness is acceptable, but no, it does not measure a good
Wrap
workout.
it up. We're trying to condense it.
Oh,
so
sorry.
Long story short, no.
No.
All right, next. On that, I'm going to throw another one in. So when you're in the gym working out, you're not sweating. That means you're not working hard enough, right?
Well, if you want to sweat, just turn the aircon off, get in the sun, do something like that.
Exactly.
Like, we will do the exact same workout with people where they lift the exact same kind of intensity, but we've got the fan on and it's cold outside, don't sweat. Humidity through the roof, fan not working, they're sweating their balls off, you know?
Sweating is literally just your body's way of cooling down, right? So it's you can be in a pool swimming laps, you're not going to sweat, but you can get absolutely...
Well, you are sweating.
Well, you're going to be sweating, but you don't notice it, right?
Yeah, and then you're swimming in other people's sweat and skin.
Okay, what do you got for me?
So if your back is sore or you get knee pain, should you stop training?
Yes, definitely. No, come on now. Don't cough it. Don't cough it out, yeah? Okay. Obviously, within reason, right? If you have an injury, like a massive injury, if you've torn your bicep off, we're not going to make you do some bicep curls, right? But if you have those aches and pains, which the general population most of the time, slouching over laptops, looking at phones, sitting down a lot, those general aches and pains, if you get a bit of back soreness, stiffness, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be lifting weights. If anything, it's going to help. Yeah, it will help. We've seen it in here.
The back pain won't help. The lifting weights will help with the back pain.
Oh, that's it. We're going to build that glute strength. Guys can hip thrust too, right? We're going to get that core working as well. Everything. It's all. We're all going to get stronger, and you're going to move better. You're going to feel better. So
same applies for knees. So like knee pain as well. Like, oh, my knees really hurt. I shouldn't squat, shouldn't lunge, shouldn't do a step up, step down. Well,
usually it's just weakness.
Yeah, once your quads start working and your glutes start stabilizing, because at your hip and your ankle, you need mobility, okay? You need to be able to move them, all right? At your knee, you need stability. And all those muscles above and below the knee are going to stabilize that knee and help in some way. So if you increase their ability to stabilize and be strong, then you're going to get less of the pain.
Let's go. Now look, we had 2 more here, but I feel like we've kind of already answered that. So we're going to let you guys, we're going to pause for half a second. You're going to say the answer in your head, and then we're going to give you the answer. So you should be training 7 days a week for results. If you said yes, then you need to go back and listen to this entire podcast, get our views up again, okay? Get our listen numbers up, all right? Obviously, no. If you want to train you know what? No. I'm not going to tell anyone to train 7 days a week.
No.
You need your rest days, okay? Unless you're an elite, wild athlete doing some crazy shit, you know what? They're still going to have a rest day.
They're going to recover, and their recovery is going to be through the roof.
Yes.
Nutrition is going to be on point. They're going to be having protocols in place to reduce tightness, soreness, you know, and they're going to be the people that are not looking for muscle gain maybe, but they're looking for improvements in performance, and they'll be trying to reduce that muscle soreness where possible. So you may have heard of a bro split before, and the bro split is where you train chest one day or chest and tris, back and bis, and then you go legs the other day, you know? So is that the best way to train?
In our opinion, no. Full body weights training, baby. For majority of people, it's the way to go. Obviously, personal preference comes into it. If you are a little bit more experienced and you have the time, go for gold. You do you, right? But full body weights 3 times a week. Let's work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
Spend more time doing stuff you love. And I understand people love the gym. Like, people make the gym their personality, but surely you want to do some other shit too. In my opinion.
No, yeah, exactly. We want that balance.
I get it. Some people, yeah.
If you listen to this podcast and you want to do 6 workouts a week, you want to get that split upper lower legs, lower legs, and you want to be in there for an hour and a half, 6 days a week, we are not the people for you.
Probably not, no.
You know, if you want to have a perfect setup, a great setup of lifting weights so you can do more of the stuff you love and be able to lift more, do more, move better.
Yeah.
You know, enjoy life.
If you're a busy person, right? If you've got a family, if you've got a job, right? We ain't no Instagram influencers with all hours of the day free.
Yeah, we're here and we have the right product for you. We have helped all the people that need that, and that is why we do what we do. So in short, guys, why you should lifting weights. We have all of those perks that we spoke about, okay? So the physical, the mental, the aesthetic, and the long term. Take those into account, and where you are in your journey, use the bits that you need, okay? And look forward to training in the future, and always have that long-term goal of lifting more, and doing the stuff you love. That was Why You Should Lift Weights with Lana Parks and Jack Faulkner. Thank you very much.
Let's go. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time.
You.